think just being able to have this place for all of us, we could hang out and do whatever we wanted. Like, it's just so creepy and weird to think that we were walking in this building with these like ghosts around us. We're breathing the air in which these broken kids would live and walk and exist. They were there with us all along. Hello everyone, so I'm dressed extra spooky today because I have kind of a spooky story to tell you all. I want to tell you the tale of Parmadale. Back when I was a senior in high school, and even a little before that actually, we had a neighborhood-friendly abando in our area. So after school, we would all walk together in the woods, and we would go to a literal ghost town, which was Parmadale. Here's a brief little history of the location. Parmadale Children's Village of St. Vincent de Paul opened its doors in 1925 on State Road in Parma, Ohio. With funding and organizational support from the Catholic Charities Corporation, Parmadale opened with the mission of caring for orphaned boys aged 6 to 16. Parmadale was among the first orphanages to move away from the institutional care, implementing a cottage residential plan meant to foster a sense of family. The grounds consisted of a school, gymnasium, pool, dining hall, administrative building, and convent, making it almost unnecessary for the children to leave the grounds unless they were going on a special outing. When Parmadale merged with St. Anthony's Home for Boys and Young Men in 1975, the organization was rechristened Parmadale Family Services. With the orphan population in decline by the 1980s, Parmadale began to focus on serving special needs children. To facilitate these changes, new buildings were constructed, including 2 intensive treatment facilities, built in 1989 and 1994. In 2009, Parmadale changed yet again, bringing an end to the cottage residential plan and opening the Parmadale Institute, a residential treatment facility intended to treat children with behavioral health needs, such as chemical dependency, trauma, severe depression, and other psychological disorders. In December 2008, 3 former Parmadale child care workers are charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of a 17-year-old girl. Faith Finley died on December 13th in a cottage on the Parmadale Family Services campus in Parma after being restrained by the woman, who said she was combative towards them. She said when the restraint ends, workers are supposed to get the person up and make sure he or she is breathing. Instead, they just left her there. Faith had been at Parmadale for several months and was being treated for depression. Faith's mother sued the Parmadale and Catholic Charities, which operates the center. In 2014, in the wake of sexual misconduct and abuse towards their students by its staff, Catholic Charities closed Parmadale's residential treatment program. The buildings of the old orphanage were demolished in 2018. So as it states, Parmadale was basically founded as an orphanage, but then spiraled into a pretty much a school/home for children with, problems at home, problems mentally. Now, what's really sad to me is that these children, they really did have all these problems, and then they go to a place like Parmadale, and they end up making their lives worse. So this place becoming abandoned, which I would say maybe 2014, which is when they closed down, this place was standing for a long time. And when we found it, this place seemed to be untouched because we found it, I think the date might be wrong on this article about when it was demolished. I seem to remember us finding it in about 2018, and then slowly it was kind of becoming demolished, and I think the process was completely done around 2020. That's what I can remember. There were times where we would go in the buildings and things would be happening where, they bug bomb the place one time, which I'll get into later, but I just remember it being, they were in the process of demolishing it, and then finally now it's gone completely. And I believe that the buildings were definitely all taken down. The whole area was taken down about 2020. So let me take you on a little story time journey about our little adventures in the ghost town that we knew and love. So a boy we went to school with who was a little older than us had told us about this place. He said it was about a 20-minute walk from our school and that we should check it out. So we went on our little journey through the woods, which is even cooler to think that, oh my gosh, if we travel through the woods, we're gonna end up in a abandoned ghost town. Kind of like our own little Wizard of Oz. So we went through the woods and we would travel up kind of a windy flight of wooden stairs to get us to kind of like the side entrance to where we would meet the grounds. And it was a huge patch of land with multiple abandoned buildings. All the buildings that were listed, the school, church, gymnasium. I never found a pool, so that's kind of interesting to read that there was a pool. I never found the pool. So the church was kind of in the middle, and then the cottages were surrounding the whole area. And at the time when we first got there, the easiest building to enter was the church/school. So here are some pictures of that, and like I said, when we found this place, it seemed to be untouched. There wasn't a lot of vandalism, there wasn't a lot of graffiti. Now everything was definitely out of order, and there was a lot of chaos. Like if you can see there's a bunch of pianos in the middle of the floor. But there's no graffiti, there's no vandalism, all the windows are intact. I even remember there was a little door, if you can see, that glass door behind there, that was completely intact. Nobody had gotten into the school part of the church yet. One of the other buildings that was behind the church, which is kind of where the kitchen was, and I'm not sure if that was more of a staff area or not. That building wasn't as big, so I don't have as many pictures of that place, but I remember it being very, very dark. There wasn't a lot of windows in that kitchen area, and there was a lot of dark hallways, and even a loading dock was back there, which is where we would hide when the cops came. Also behind the building with the kitchen was the gymnasium. That building was very small. It was literally just the gymnasium, and then on the side was a hallway into a room that kind of looked like it could have been a bedroom, but I don't know why there would be just a random bedroom attached to the gymnasium. Like I said in the beginning, the only building that we were only able to access at the time was the church/school. And of course we started telling our friends about this, posting this on social media, and that gave the place some attention. And the more we would go there, the more, graffiti we'd find, vandalism. Here's a picture of me looking very cringy, but that's me in the kitchen room, and you can already start to see some graffiti on the wall. Also, as time went on, somebody had busted through that door and made it into the school portion. So you can see we have a picture of the hallway from looking up above that was on two sides of the building, two opposite sides of the building, and then the rest was hallways. On the bottom floor in the middle of the hallways, there was a big giant like ballroom or some kind of dining hall. Again, here's a very weird and cringy picture of me in one of the classrooms. I really don't know what I'm doing. Also in the church, I was able to climb up to I believe this is the bell tower. I climbed up a very, very long, narrow, sketchy ladder that was attached to the wall. And I was able to get some pictures of, the bell tower. I don't know if that's a boiler or not, but you can see the clock and all the, light bulbs and stuff. So that was cool. That was really fun to do. And then eventually over time, all the buildings would be open for access. There was a building in the front of the vicinity, which was kind of like the main staff. It was like a staff building / cottage. I don't know if this is where the staff would sleep. Basically, that had some basic living room layouts here. There was another tiny church hall inside there, various classrooms and other rooms with couches, which is maybe where they would have meetings with the children or the parents. Here was a big bathroom that was in there with like 4 sinks attached to each other. And if I'm not mistaken, this is what I would believe the beds to look like for these children. You can see that as soon as you walk in, you have a little sink with a mirror, and then on the opposite side, you have a little window and a corkboard and, you know, where your bed would go and stuff. So the rooms were very small. Here's me sitting in a plaid room with my plaid flannel looking all cute. Then in the very back building, this is where I guess this would be storage, maybe a boiler room, other staff to, you know, do their thing. I really don't know. Here's us, dressed all goth. We were doing a goth photo shoot here, and this is like the outside and the back of the, I believe this is the church. I actually can't remember what building this was. Here's me pretending to be a teacher. We also did another senior year photo shoot here, which was really fun. And here's some more pictures of kind of like, you know, later in the days where people would come and vandalize. You can see here, this was like the first area that I had shown, and now you can see that the railing up top is gone. There is spray paint on the wall here. The door in the back is completely busted, and everything is just, there's just glass on the floor. So this was about maybe 6 months into having this place be exposed. This place definitely was quickly discovered, and it was quickly vandalized and quickly noticed by the city. Also, in one of the rooms, I can't even remember which building this was, we found a two-way mirror, which was really weird. It was like, you know, a room with a two-way mirror in between, and there was like a chair in there too, so we don't know if that's where people monitored kids, if they were I don't know. I have no idea, but it was really creepy. Since we've established the layout of the place, let me tell you some fun stories now. Oh gosh, where do I begin? So one time I remember some friends and I, we were planning to go hang out there. Actually, it was 2 friends that had never been there before, and it was just me and the 2 of them. And we had gotten some beers and some vodka, and we were gonna park on one of the side streets in my neighborhood and walk through the woods to get there. Mind you, it was completely dark outside, and it was a little snowy and cold. So what do? We drink on the way there to get warm. So we get there, and it's really great, and everybody's having a great time. And we ended up sitting in that ballroom and just getting plastered. And it was like, we started showing them all the buildings, and we ended up getting on some kind of roof that was like, it was a flat top roof, and we were like making snow angels on the roof. Oh my god, it was so much fun. And then another time, me and my 2 friends, different friends, we went there, and, you know, we'd been there all the time. This was literally an after-school event. Like, kids used to hang out at Taco Bell. We hung out at Parmadale. We would just go there. And one time we were there, and we were sneaking into the kitchen, like, building, and we saw the cops outside. So we're like, oh, the cops are here, we got a book. So we started running, and we were running through this overgrown grass to get back into the woods. And we're running, and as I'm running, I see a dead cat on the ground. It was like a black dead cat, and I just, like, you know, you're running and you see it and you're like, oh wow, that was weird. And then, like, we had hopped down from this big thing onto these rocks, kind of like Mario would, and we ended up down there, and like, we were just chilling, we were just getting our breath, and I'm like, did you guys see that cat? And they're like, yeah, we did actually. So that was kind of a funny moment. Also funny moment, not as exciting and daring, but here's a picture of the outside, and if you can see that little tiny person down there, that's my grandma. We took my mom and my grandma here to show them, because this place was harmless, you know, it was very harmless, and we took my grandma. So another funny moment, this was insane, and I really wish I had pictures and videos, because I did have them on my old phone, but they're gone. Initially, to get into the gymnasium building, We had to climb on a picnic table and kind of like pull ourselves up onto this little flat roof and then go up another little step, and then there was a window, and looking down was into the gymnasium. And it was a pretty tall like fall. Like you cannot just fall down there, like you'd break your leg. So when we were looking into the window, we saw down there was a ladder on the ground. My friend and I were like, what can we do? What would Dora do? So we ended up going into the other building and we collected cords and hangers and we constructed like a pulley, and we we literally hooked the ladder up and we pulled the damn thing up to the window. So we went down and we saw the gymnasium. We're like, wow, this is so cool. And then we go up that little stairs and then we see a window that was right next to the ledge that we were just on. So we literally could have just went in there from that window, but hey. And then of course, I wanted to take my boyfriend there and show him. So when I took him there, we started in the dark at night for whatever reason, and we were going up the wooden stairs, and again it was winter and there was snow everywhere. So we're going up, and we get to the top and we're about to go in and we see coyotes. And I say, all right, let's go, we'll come back another time. But of course, he likes to look at the coyotes and try to get their attention for whatever reason. So I'm like, oh my god, what's he doing? Next thing I know, he goes, run! And I'm like, what? So we're running down these stairs. And like, there's like a long path like for handicapped people, and then there's just regular stairs. Well, I decided to take the regular stairs, and they were completely snowy. So I'm like falling down these stairs and like terrified and laughing because I'm falling all over the place. Like, it was so, like, I was pissed, but now looking back, it's so funny. So then the second time taking him there, I thought was going to be more successful, but it was not. We ended up going into that gymnasium room, and every single time I had spray paint on me, always ran into the cops. Always. I don't know why. I was spray painting the wall, and I look out the window, and I see the cops, and I say, cops are here! And he looks at me like this. We ended up hiding in that building for about 2 hours until they left. But overall, we had a very nice time. It was definitely our little place, and I mean, we love exploring abandoned buildings as it is. And the fact that this whole area was our playground, like 20 minutes from our school, not even, like walking distance it was 20. But oh my gosh, it was the best experience I could ever ask for.